Rebecca Moses, and I have the real pleasure of sitting down today with Cantor Marshall Portnoy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
And we are here to celebrate your new anthology that was recently published and to talk a little bit about it. But I'm wondering if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, tell us a little bit about yourself. Of course, everyone can read about this in the introduction to your book, which is so beautifully written. But for those who haven't gotten to read it yet, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks so much, Rebecca. A product of New Haven. I didn't know there was anything else besides New Haven. At first, no, I'm kidding a little bit. But growing up in that with a wonderful city, with a wonderful family and friends and so forth, I've spent my first 22 years. The stability, the interconnectedness with family and friends. It meant just a great deal to me. I grew up in a golden time.
So you have served a couple of congregations in your really illustrious career.
I have served two congregations, and what a pleasure each was. One, the congregation at Shurin in the Highlands in Louisville was a tremendous experience. And I was there from 1971 till 1994. And then for lots of different reasons, moved to Philadelphia and have served Mainline Reformed Temple from 1994, officially retired in 2018, but I'm still very, very much there, and it's still my family. It's really a pleasure when you can become so close and feel that the clergy that succeed you in a sense, they don't really succeed you. They just add to your life. It isn't a displacement, but it's an addition. And so Rabbi Newberg and Cantor Rudnick have just been such an important and special part, not only of my life, but of the life of my family. And it is just wonderful to be alive, except in one significant respect, and that is now I'm not sharing my life with the love of my life, and that was Jane, who passed away 3 years ago this past week. She was everything to me. And my best friend, my soulmate. We were blessed not only with a wonderful daughter, but with a wonderful son.
And I have to say, after speaking to you, I did look up your wife's cookbook and the recipes look
Oh,
amazing.
did you?
And I am very, very excited to try some of them with my own family. And so I know her memory and her legacy will be a blessing for many, many years to come from so many families. So I want to talk a little bit about your new book. You have been a composer for a very long time, and it's been a big part of your cantorate and your career. And so I'm curious as to why now was the right moment to publish everything in one really beautiful book.
Well, I'm going to be 80 years old.
Positive.
I wanted I wanted to see it. It meant so much to me that the folks at Transcontinental, but I can't say enough. I can't say enough about Joe Eglash. The way he engineered it, the way he envisioned it, the way he processed it and programmed it and ordered it and categorized it. He is amazing, amazing diplomat, amazing musician, amazing theorist, and an amazing Jew. And this would not have happened without Joe. He's behind every measure and every page of the anthology.
I can't possibly agree with you anymore because everything you just said is 100% true.
Mhm.
Um, and you and Joe worked very carefully on how to arrange the book. For those who haven't had a chance to go through the book yet, it is organized in a way that shows that a cantor had a good hand in doing this because it is organized by holiday, by cycle of the year. It is so incredibly wonderfully easy to use so that if you have a holiday coming up and you need to find a song for a particular moment, this book is so simple to find that piece. And the pieces are, of course, beautiful and usable and wonderful. I'd love to hear your thoughts on you and Joe working together to organize it for a cantor to use.
So actually, or Joe, suggested that it be simply in alphabetical order, beginning with Adon Olam. But then he very ingeniously, as you indicate, puts these pages in the introduction for children, for Sukkot, for Purim, art songs, and so on, so that you can easily, as you say, Rebecca, flip to the material that you want. So, for example, there's a lot of material for children because if I believe in anything, it's that we must involve children as early in their lives as we possibly can. So there are new tunes for Hamotzi Lechem, for the Four Questions, um, for La Yehudim, for Purim, for Shabbat, and so forth. Appropriate for grown-ups, appropriate for children, many of them appropriate, for anybody. For example, the Shabbat Shalom. I have a little keyboard here, so this is a song I really loved. I composed this when Julie was sitting on my lap in Louisville. This must have been around 1990 or so. She was probably 6 or 7. So, and she suggested things, and it all came out. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Umenucha, Shabbat Shalom, Umevorah. In the introduction, I talk about and don't take this in a sort of a lugubrious or sad way, but I talk about my realization of death. Because, you know, as I say in the introduction, what all of us have in common is that there's a terminus, and what we do with the time in between, and trying to understand our relationship to one another and a relationship to God in the context of finality is very important. I learned that at a very young age. My dad died about a year before my bar mitzvah, and uh, grandparents and so forth. I got the picture very, very early. And now this latest loss hit me very, very hard. But in a sense, my spirit was hard. We sort of exist in compartments. My spirit was prepared for it, in a sense, as I hope my children's will be when my time comes to be with Jane. So I set some songs. There's one by Merritt Malloy called Epitaph. You know the text. When I die, give what's left of me away. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother, cry for your sister, walking the street. A new arrangement of the Hanesenish poem, There are stars so bright that even far away, that even in the night, they shine, shine, shine. and when they glow, that's how you know your way. I was fortunate on the recording to have these incredible colleagues. For example, that I was mentioning the four questions. מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל הלילות? מה נשתנה הלילה הזה מכל הלילות? And that Cantor Brad Hyman, oh my gosh, is he wonderful with his guitar? And then some of the tunes that people are more familiar with. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי. Done so ineffably by Farron Rudnick on the recordings, and then her little Pitzel Hannah, what a job she does on some of those songs. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed is the Lord who brings forth bread. And she sings it a lot better than I just did. So it was a very collaborative experience. I did some art songs, some things that are not part of the service, but for example, Aaron Frankel did Early Will I Seek You. Now, let me just show you what how I sort of approach the music, When I see the text, Early Will I Seek You by Ibn Gabirol, Shachar Avakeshecha, I think about not early, but also at night. I was used to that text as being the first thing that we do on Yom Kippur morning. But because it's Yom Kippur, I'm so attuned to the idea that early will be followed by late. That Shacharit will be followed not only by Marev, but before that by Ne'ilah, where the gates are closing. So at the beginning of that piece, which is a morning piece, it's meant to be in the morning, but you can't escape this. That major second, which, traditionally you hear Yitkadal, Yitkadash Merabah. But I used it here as a leitmotif to get into Early will I seek you, my rock and refuge strong. But you have even though you have it is a psalm of praise and affirmation. In the background, always there is the idea of the coming of night and the inevitability of transition. I think I'm best as a composer when there's a text that grabs me and intrigues me. So I think a lot of my best music has been written as when I get a commission or when there's a specific reason and I'm asked to do something. So that was the case with my favorite pieces, which are the Hashkivenu pieces, because that text is just so moving to me. And it gave me the chance to compose Grant That We May Lie Down in Peace, which is my very favorite choral piece that I wrote. But then on the other hand, when the congregation in Albany wanted to honor our dear colleague, Jody Sheckman, she asked me too for Hashkivenu, and just knowing her and being in such resonance with her sweetness and yet her determination and all that she did for us as a human being and in the conference, in the American Conference of Cantors. I wrote another Hashkivenu, but it was very, very personal. Nothing majestic or grandiose, because that wasn't Jody. So I wrote a Hashkivenu, which I just don't know how it came out. I call it Hashkivenu, peace of mind. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu l'chaim v'hamidenu l'chaim. Bless us with peace of mind, O God, as we sleep, and raise us again to life. V'hamidenu l'chaim.
So you are a text first composer and then the melody comes. I'd love to know what some of your influences are. I know we spoke last time about some favorite kinds of music, but what kind of music do you listen to when you are trying to just sort of fill your musical cup?
Well, of course, the Jewish tradition is is very, very important. And I think for me, it's a sort of a cushion. It's sort of always there, as I explained in the early Will I Seek You. But it finds its way into Grant That We May Lie Down in Peace. There is a chazonic introduction. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Shalom. See, I'm even davening when I do it. But essentially, the piece goes into, I mean, I think really theater music, music of the American Jewish Songbook, the American theater, which was, no doubt had tremendous Jewish influences. But that's what I grew up with. That's what's in my musical, my soul, my fingers, besides the incredible influence of wonderful cantors that I was privileged to have as I was growing up, and the music that they brought and the music that I was taught and worked on at the seminary and at the college and through these amazing, amazing years of connection with the American Conference of Cantors, the Cantors Assembly. And
If someone is completely unfamiliar with your work, and I don't know what cantor that would be, but I'm assuming that there might be one or two, what piece of yours would you give them as a first piece, just to really get to know your style and your kind of voice, as you put it?
the meditation, I think, would be a good place to start to understand my music and where I'm coming from. First of all, simply because it's in Hebrew and in English. And very early on, I, even before Debbie did, I experimented with using Hebrew and English together in the same way. Now that's hardly revolutionary. It's done all the time, so that's one thing. I have a wonderful cousin, second cousin, that was about to be married. And she said, please write me a Dodi Lee or something based on Shir HaShirim for my wedding. And I said, absolutely. So I went to the piano and I'm singing the Catalan Shir HaShirim Asher Li Shlomo. I'm trying to make it into something based on that mode, and nothing is coming out at all. What began to happen was Shir HaShirim Li Shlomo. No, it doesn't sound right. The words and the music aren't meshing. I mean, I'm forcing it. But what worked was, oh, may the words of my mouth. I said, goodness, I'm not going to do that for my cousin's wedding. Ose shalom bimroma, huyase shalom aleinu. That just absolutely just tore me apart. I know the idea of the yearning for peace was there. My poor cousin was was left in the lurch, but I wrote something else for her. Long answer to a short question. If you want to understand me, what I'm about, then look at meditation.
Marshall, I'm wondering if there are any particular pieces in the book that you want to highlight, something that people may know really well that you want to talk about a little bit more, something that people may not know as well that you really want to direct them towards.
There is one piece that means a great deal to me on many levels. Birth is a beginning, I think, is a text that's meant a great deal to all of us at funerals, at Yizkor, but just in general. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. It is our destination, and birth is our beginning. The song, and in this case, the singer, who was that same 11-year-old that was on my next to me when we wrote Shabbat Shalom so many years ago. It was Julie singing that song and remembering her mom, my late wife, and just in one take, just sparkling and magically fulfilling, I think, the intention of the poet, Rabbi Fine, and certainly fulfilling the intention of the composer, her dad. Earth is a beginning and death. Do you hear that? Where I go into that little unexpected, attempting to be a, sort of a painter with tones. A destination, and life is but a journey from youth to age, from innocence to foolishness, and then to wisdom, to health and strength. It's a wonderful poem, and it's just an open invitation to a composer who's so concerned about issues of birth and passage.
Any other hidden gems in your anthology that you wish people would turn immediately to and then put on their
There's songs for everybody. There's songs for your sisterhood choir, your treble choir, your adult choir, your professional choir, your children. This is a reflection of my life as a Jew, my life as a Jewish musician. Yeah,
Well, thank you, Cantor Portnoy, for letting us into your head a little bit and telling us a wonderful amount about your music and your self and how all of this music can be so relatable and so usable. I think that that's really the key here is that the music in your book is meant to be sung and shared and really celebrated. And we are, I know I can speak for all of the cantors who are going to watch this when I say we're very grateful to you for your work and your care and your heart.
the gratefulness is reciprocated to the ACC for giving me this incredible opportunity. Um, it's the Ne'ilah for me, and it's a joyous Ne'ilah because of what the ACC made possible. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Iul raton imre fi